Oh my gosh, Minerva is such a fucking animal and a beast in this episode. Shit she did is like, you cruel woman. So this episode continues with Erza versus Kagura, and pretty much, for the most part, it felt like a troll ending last week with where Kagura swiped the sword and it was supposed to be like, oh, she killed Erza or something. It was like obvious that was not going to happen. So the fight continues or whatever. And for the most part, the animation and the art looked real good for this episode, but there were a few instances where I was like, what the fuck is going on? In particular, when the boulders are falling down, one of them looks like a big piece of like paper or some shit is falling, like the way it was animated and everything. So aside from that, for the most part, the animation actually was really good and the art looked really beautiful. I mean, like, even on scenes like, you know, just like when we're looking at a character talk, it actually looked pretty good, the art. So I'm glad at the very least that the art and animation was looking up to par in this episode. Again, small instances, but the art and animation for the most part was looking pretty good. And we find out in this episode, finally, a connection between Erza and Kagura. And for the most part, it was like, it came out of nowhere, but whatever. At the very least, it was interesting enough to the point where it was kind of like, oh shit, so this is why Erza was captured and why she was sent to the Tower of Heaven and all that stuff happened. So in a way, all the torment and horrors that she went through was because of Kagura. So if anything, Kagura once again should be thanking this girl, but you know, she didn't know about that, of course, if she couldn't remember or whatever. So I guess you can't completely fault her for that. And ultimately, the fight between Erza versus Kagura, I would have liked a clear-cut winner instead of like, oh, a boulder's about to fall down, get out the way, and then she pushes her and gets like the rock smashing on her leg or whatever. So I didn't really care for how that fight particularly turned out, but at the very least, it turned into something really dark where Minerva just shows up and stabs right through Kagura, and I'm like, oh my god, you hate her, but at the same time, she's the villain you need right now because she doesn't give a fuck. She came in there and just stabbed her, and she's there with a smile like, yeah, I did it. The anime was weird because they show blood sometimes, they show blood here and there, but in this particular one, it was like, you just see like the sword kind of floating there, and then you don't see any blood or the wound or anything like that. So the anime is weird how like it picks and chooses what type of gore they want to show and when. I don't get it. But then it doesn't even stop there, because when she brings Leone back, she was whipping her and torturing her while she waited for them. It's like, oh my god, I know, like, it's weird because, again, she's a fucking piece of shit for doing that. It's like, oh my god, you're so fucked up. Whipping Leone, stabbing through Kagura, making both of them fight. But at the same time, it's like, this is a villain, people. And she's a villain that you're gonna love to hate because she's so villainous. And I think from here on out, if Kagura has any more of a grudge towards Erza, she's just a pinhead. Because at this point, it's like, so Erza saved your life and ended up fucking her own life up and getting captured for it. She was basically the person that your brother's dying wish was to protect, and you still went after at that point. Like, if Kagura has any other gripe with Erza, she's a fucking pinhead. She should just at this point kiss her feet and say, Erza Dono, aka Erza God. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, look, she fucked her whole life up to save this girl when they were younger. And again, she don't remember it. Well, she remembers it now. So fucking kiss some ass. And then towards the end, we get a setup. Now it's going to be Erza versus Minerva. Kagura's pretty much out the picture at this point. And I'm looking forward to seeing this because Erza does look pissed off, but Minerva again looking evil as ever. And then we have some setups for some different fights. We have Laxus versus Orga, and then Juvia shows up. Looking forward to seeing this one animated. I will give a spoiler warning that this was a very controversial fight. A lot of people didn't like the outcome. I will leave it at that. So I'm interested to see how the anime handles it. I personally didn't have a problem with it, but I remember when the chapter dropped, and again, this is minimal spoiler, people were really pissed off with how this particular three-way fight was handled. But we'll see how the anime does it, because for the most part, the anime usually fixes up some blunders and makes things look a little bit better than they did in the manga. Oh my gosh, get Rogue the fuck up out of here, yo! He got exposed again in this episode. Gajeel put the beats on him. It didn't really look like much, because for the most part, he just like knocked the fuck out of him. But, oh my god, and then he has the balls to say, Natsu's stronger, guys. Like, with Gajeel, you don't fuck with Levy, and you don't say that Natsu's better than him, and oh my god, he fucked up right then. At the end of the day, Rogue, you got beat by Natsu. You and your little boyfriend Sting, you got fucked up. And then now you try it again after Gajeel was just kicking ass. Like, get him out of here. He's not Dragon Slayer. Get him out. We have another fight that was set up as well. I'm not too particularly interested in this one in particular. The Gray and Juvia versus Leone and Celia is like, you know, whatever. It looks again like a comedic battle with a little bit of romance in it because Juvia likes Gray, but Gray doesn't give a fuck about any of that shit. And Leone likes Juvia, but Juvia doesn't like Leone. She likes Gray. And Celia likes Leone, but Leone likes Juvia. It's like, the only one out of all of them that really doesn't care about any of that is Gray. So, Gray on his pimp shit. And last but not least, we got some progression with Natsu and the gang finally getting out of the dungeon and back into the palace. And for the most part of this episode, while arguably some of the things in this I really didn't care for in particular, like again the ending of the fight between Erza and Kagura, I wish it would have just had a full-on last brawl battle, like okay, let's see, clear-cut winner. But ultimately there was a lot of progression with this episode. Again, they're out of the dungeon finally, the fight finished between them two, and now it's a setup between Erza and Minerva for the finals of that little triangle battle, and we have a couple of different setup battles as well. So some really good progression with this episode, and the little filler that they added in the ending is just really hyping up what might be the future regarding these dragons, because they had like all those dragons coming in and they look, well, I don't know, whenever they show the dragons they like put their all into the art and animation. It's just like they're tearing shit up and everything, and it's like, hopefully this is the future to come, because this looks like some vile and crazy shit. And ultimately, it was a really enjoyable episode. A lot of crazy shit went down. We got a lot of progression. Again, I will say the one thing that I really didn't care for, the two things I really didn't care for, was art and animation in certain areas. Again, mainly with that boulder scene looked pretty bad, and regarding the ending of the fight between Erza versus Kagura. But aside from that, it was, in all honesty, a pretty damn good episode, because progression, Minerva being a true villain up in this bitch, and ultimately we got some pretty good setups in here. We got like at least 3 fight setups, and we got Gajeel pissed off, so he's gonna probably mop the fucking floor with this wannabe Dragon Slayer. So, pretty damn good episode. I'm gonna give this bad boy an 8 out of 10. Very good stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing the next few episodes, and again, I'm interested to see for the most part how the anime handles that Orga versus Laxus versus Jura fight, and see if people's reactions are still the same from what they had in the manga, because in all honesty, I was like the odd man out. I felt with that particular battle, I really, we'll just see what happens. Let me know what you guys think. First of all, were you disappointed with the outcome between Erza versus Kagura? What did you think about it? Did you like it? How are you feeling about Minerva right now? Do you hate her? Do you love to hate her right now? And out of the 3 fights that was set up within this episode, which fight you're most excited about? To be honest with you guys, I'm actually the most excited to see the Rogue fight, probably, because I'm looking forward to seeing Gajeel just fuck somebody up. And just overall thoughts of the episode. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, you can do so as well. That'd be awesome. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.